You think your biggest problem is that life is too short. But the truth is, you are living as if you will never die. That quiet assumption, hidden, unspoken, unquestioned, is shaping every decision you make. You scroll like time is infinite. You postpone difficult conversations like relationships are permanent. You treat your body like it has unlimited tomorrows. You think you're afraid of death. But the truth is, you are afraid of remembering death. Because the moment you truly feel it, not intellectually, but viscerally, the entire structure of your life begins to tremble. The goals that once felt urgent suddenly look trivial. The conflicts that once consumed you feel strangely small. The identity you spent years building begins to crack. And that is terrifying. But here's the deeper problem. The human mind has developed incredibly sophisticated strategies to make death psychologically invisible. Not because death is rare, but because awareness of death changes everything. Wait, if the awareness of death has the power to reorganize your entire life, what does that say about the way you are currently living? Let's be honest with ourselves. If you truly believed your time was limited, would you still be worrying about what that person thought of your Instagram story? Would you still be waiting for the right moment to begin? Would you still be negotiating with your own existence? Exactly. In the next 20 minutes, I will take you from the hidden psychological mechanism that protects you from death awareness to the darkest corners of human nature that secretly depend on denial, finally offering a symbolic internal ritual that can return authorship of your life back into your hands. But first, we need to expose the illusion you are currently living inside. It's 11:47 p.m. You are lying in bed. Your body is tired, but your thumb is still scrolling. You pause on a video of someone your age announcing a major life milestone: promotion, marriage, financial freedom, perfect skin, perfect lighting, perfect timing. Your stomach tightens, you feel behind, you feel late. You feel like life is a race you somehow started 20 minutes after everyone else. So you scroll faster. Because if you stop moving, you might feel something heavier than anxiety. Something harder to distract, a quiet whisper. What exactly am I doing with my life? But the algorithm saves you. Another video loads. Another distraction arrives. Crisis postponed. Another scene. You promise yourself you will finally start the project tomorrow. You even open the document. You type the title. Then something strange happens. Your mind suddenly becomes very interested in cleaning the kitchen, reorganizing files, replying to emails that absolutely do not matter. You feel productive, busy, responsible, but something inside you knows. You are not moving forward. You are circling, orbiting, delaying contact with something uncomfortable. Because starting the project would force you to confront a dangerous possibility. What if your time is not infinite? What if this chance matters more than your nervous system wants to admit? So you postpone, not because you are lazy, but because beginning would expose something terrifying. You cannot rehearse life forever. At some point, the performance begins. And here is the fatal logical error hidden inside both scenes. You believe you have time to avoid the question. You believe meaning can be postponed. You believe urgency is optional. But what if urgency is not the enemy? What if urgency is the only thing that makes life vivid? We will return to this paradox, because the real mechanism behind your avoidance is far more unsettling than procrastination. It is psychological survival. In the 1970s, cultural anthropologist Ernest Becker proposed a disturbing idea. Human civilization itself may function as a defense mechanism against death anxiety. Think about that. Our careers, our achievements, our social identities, even our moral systems, all may serve one hidden purpose: to convince ourselves that we matter beyond our biological expiration date. This insight later inspired terror management theory, a psychological framework suggesting that much of human behavior is motivated by the unconscious fear of mortality. But here is where it becomes uncomfortable. When people are subtly reminded of death, something strange happens. They become more defensive about their beliefs, more protective of their identity, more aggressive toward opposing views. Why? Because identity becomes a psychological shield against the terror of impermanence. If my beliefs are right, maybe I am not insignificant. If my group is superior, maybe I am not temporary. If my life has symbolic importance, maybe I am not disappearing. The mind creates narratives that promise continuity, legacy, reputation, impact. But look closely, these are not merely ambitions. They are psychological technologies designed to neutralize existential panic. And suddenly, the obsession with productivity begins to look different. The fear of failure begins to look different. Even the desire to be remembered begins to look different. What if your anxiety about success is not actually about success? What if it is about symbolic immortality? Wait, here's where the illusion deepens. Because the strategies we use to avoid thinking about death often make us less alive. We trade presence for protection, risk for predictability, authenticity for approval. We begin optimizing for psychological safety rather than existential vitality. Which leads to a paradox. The more we try to avoid death, the less we experience life. But if that sounds unsettling, this next discovery may disturb you even more. Some part of you may actually be attached to the illusion of having unlimited time, because believing there is always tomorrow allows you to avoid becoming who you actually are today. Carl Jung believed that what we refuse to confront does not disappear. It waits. It accumulates. It shapes us from behind the curtain. The refusal to acknowledge death creates a shadow. And inside that shadow, strange motivations begin to grow. We cling to social roles that feel safe but empty. Why? Because transformation feels like a kind of death. We stay in relationships long after meaning has left. Why? Because ending them forces us to confront the finite nature of connection. We accumulate distractions, consume noise, fill silence. Because silence removes anesthesia, and suddenly, we can hear the clock. Nietzsche once wrote that he who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. But modern life has performed a strange reversal. We optimize the how, morning routines, life hacks, productivity systems, but we quietly avoid the why. Because discovering a true why often demands sacrifice. It demands letting parts of the self die. Old identities, old ambitions, old illusions. Gabor Mate observed that much of human suffering comes not from pain, but from our resistance to feeling pain. We fear grief. We fear uncertainty. We fear insignificance. But beneath those fears lies a deeper one. We fear discovering that our current life may not align with our deepest values. And if we saw that clearly, we might feel compelled to change. And change always involves loss. So we negotiate with ourselves. Later, when things calm down, when I feel ready. But readiness is often a psychological mirage. Because the ego prefers familiar discomfort over unfamiliar possibility. Have you noticed how often you say you want change, but structure your life to avoid it? Have you noticed how often you fantasize about freedom, but reinforce the same patterns every week? Have you noticed how often you say time is precious, while behaving as if it is abundant? Strange, isn't it? We fear death, yet we rehearse it daily through unconscious living. So here is the uncomfortable question. If your life remains exactly as it is right now, repeated for the next 30 years, would you call that living, or simply prolonged avoidance? I know you want to close this video the second I say the phrase letting go. Stay with me. I am not here to preach. I am here to invite observation. Tonight, sit somewhere quiet. No music. No phone. No performance. Close your eyes and imagine a scene. You are very old. Your body is tired. Your environment is quiet. You know your life is nearing completion. Now ask one question. What am I strangely proud of? Not what impressed others. Not what looked successful. What felt internally true? Maybe it was a conversation where you finally spoke honestly. Maybe it was a risk that did not guarantee approval. Maybe it was a moment where you allowed yourself to change direction. Notice what appears. Notice what does not appear. Very few people on their deathbed think, "I wish I had spent more time refreshing my email." The exercise is not about fear. It is about clarity. Because simulated endings illuminate hidden priorities. For the next 7 days, practice allowing small identities to die. Say no to one expectation that does not feel authentic. Admit uncertainty in one conversation. Allow yourself to disappoint someone safely. Pause before automatically defending your self-image. Observe the discomfort. Notice the ego's resistance. Notice the urge to justify. Notice the impulse to explain. Because every identity you cling to requires maintenance. And maintenance consumes life energy. Letting small identities dissolve releases psychological oxygen. You may feel exposed, uncertain, unprotected. That is normal. Because you are no longer outsourcing your sense of existence to external validation. You are reclaiming authorship. The goal is not radical transformation overnight. The goal is symbolic rehearsal. Practicing the art of psychological flexibility. Each time you release a rigid identity, you become slightly more alive, slightly more responsive, slightly more present. Paradoxically, accepting the inevitability of death increases the intensity of living. Because when time becomes visible, choice becomes meaningful, and meaning energizes action. Dostoevsky once suggested that the mystery of human existence lies not in staying alive, but in finding something to live for, not something impressive, something sincere. Modern culture often frames death as the ultimate tragedy, but consider another perspective. Death is the boundary that gives life shape. Without limitation, experience dissolves into abstraction. Without finitude, nothing feels urgent enough to matter. Scarcity creates value. Impermanence creates intensity. Think about music. A song that never ends is not beautiful. It is unbearable. Meaning emerges because something concludes. Because something is fragile. Because something can be lost. Your life is not meaningful despite its limitation. Your life is meaningful because of its limitation. You do not need infinite time to live deeply. You need sufficient honesty to recognize that time is not guaranteed. And strangely, when we stop negotiating with mortality, we begin negotiating with life more courageously. We stop postponing authenticity. We stop rehearsing conversations we never initiate. We stop waiting for permission that never arrives. We stop treating existence like a draft version, because the draft is the final version. And perhaps the quiet grace of human existence is this: you do not need to conquer death. You only need to stop pretending it is not part of the contract. There is a question most people avoid asking themselves. If you truly accepted that your time is limited, what would quietly disappear from your life? And what would finally begin? Not dramatically, not heroically, just honestly. What illusion would lose its power? What truth would gain momentum? If something inside you shifted while listening to this, notice that moment. Describe it. Not the polished version, the uncomfortable one. Because awareness often begins with a sentence we were afraid to write. And perhaps the most dangerous illusion is not that life is short, but that we have time to remain strangers to ourselves.